Hello everyone, I am Gary Maloney and welcome to Sacktown Slam, and this is your predictions for Hell in a Cell 2017. Now tomorrow's gonna be an interesting night to say the least. Mainly because the WWE title match isn't even the biggest deal on the card, which is an insult in and of itself. But still, there are some decent matches on this card. I, however, have a different problem, and it's called Jinder Mahal. And I'm going to get this out of the way right now. Jinder Mahal is a joke. Jinder Mahal has absolutely nothing to do with being a good heel. And I am so tired of this "don't hinder Jinder" crowd who are just a bunch of smart marks out there that want to drink the proverbial WWE Kool-Aid. Listen, folks, Mahal sucks. End of discussion. Mahal is a joke. Mahal does not deserve a title that he did not earn. Ever. Not when he was fighting Randy Orton, and not when he was fighting Nakamura. He has never once done it on his own. Never. Now, you can be a good heel and do it on your own. Randy Orton has proven this. People as far back as Bret Hart have proven this. People like Stone Cold Steve Austin have proven this. People like The Rock have proven this. People like Seth Rollins have proven this. You don't always have to cheat to win. You can win on your own. And you don't need to look like a genetic freak like Brock Lesnar to do it either. So, while Frankenstein's monster, along with Tweedledee and Tweedledum at his side, do his bidding, I just feel like with them in December going into India, I don't think they're going to not have him going into India in December with no title. And seeing as at Survivor Series there won't be any WWE title match, that means we are going to possibly have to wait 8 weeks for another title shot, or he'll have to put up the title in some sort of fashion on SmackDown Live, which I would expect, but he would probably retain it if the tour isn't over yet. So, with that being said, there's what I want to happen and what I think will happen. What I want to happen is Nakamura to kick his racist ass, and and I know it's not Jinder being the racist, it's the dumbasses at the top, which it all starts at the top. Vince, and it's just Vince has always treated Japanese superstars like shit. And I really, when you have a guy that is a cut above everyone else, it is an insult to everyone else when you treat him like shit. You allowed a guy like AJ Styles, who I am not knocking at all. I wouldn't be knocking him if I wasn't wearing his shirt, But AJ Styles didn't have to go to NXT, didn't have to do Jack Diddley, appeared at the Royal Rumble. He didn't win it, but he did appear there, and lasted in the Royal Rumble for over half an hour. Shinsuke had to take the long road, and while he did get the NXT title twice, he has yet to see any titles since that happened. Um, if I'm WWE and I'm thinking about this logically, your ticket sales are in the shithole. Your SmackDown numbers aren't going to get any better as football season continues. I mean, if you leave Mahal as champion now, and you leave Lesnar as champion now, nobody's going to give a fuck about SmackDown or Raw. Because, from what I've read, you're keeping AJ off television because you want to sit there and have him in dark matches because you want to boost the ratings of 205 Live. Who gives a shit about 205 Live? I don't. I don't watch 205 Live. No one gives a shit about that shit show. So, when you put somebody like Enzo Abore, who as your champ, that's not moving the bar. And there's proof of that. The last 5 weeks, there's been proof of that. So the fact that, you are sacrificing everything on a guy like Mahal, who hasn't delivered since May, since he won at Backlash. I mean, really? He botched at Backlash. He botched at Battleground. He botched at freaking SummerSlam. And now you're going to have him win yet again at Hell in a Cell? Like, are you joking? Seriously, are you joking? Because, really, this is not a guy that I would be putting your corporate, designs behind. He can't wrestle. He has a terrible finishing move, which doesn't look impressive at all. If I were to put that up against the Kinshasa, that's just like, I'll take a Kinshasa every day. That I stand behind. I do not want, nor do I need, a guy like Mahal as the WWE champion. Neither does the majority of the fan base. I mean, if you are going to hold your top titles, literally, frozen in amber until next year's WrestleMania, I realize that people are like, well, it's about long-term booking. And people were tired of the hot potatoing of the title last year, of the WWE and the Universal. Okay, I get that, but leaving it on on one guy that's not even going to defend it, being Brock and the Universal title, which he's never even fought on Raw for, how many years? That's how many years. Because the fact of the matter is that he's not getting people over. He's not. The fact is that Brock's not getting anybody over. And the fact of the matter is that neither is Jinder. Jinder can't even get Jinder over. And the boos you hear from the crowd, they're not boos from him getting heel heat. They're boos because people don't want to see him anymore. People hate Jinder. And not because they're xenophobic, racist, but because Jinder is just a shitty wrestler who got himself all jacked up and So I'm going to be honest. If he wins on Sunday, that whole pay-per-view is a flop. I don't care how great New Day and Usos are in Hell in a Cell. If he wins on Sunday, this pay-per-view will fail. Period. I do not care what people think about Jinder Mahal and the don't hinder Jinder crowd, because they're out there, trust me. The losers are out there, because every loser out there wants to think that Jinder Mahal was just misunderstood and he is this great freaking wrestler. No, he's not. Every title match he's had, he's cheated to win. I'm sorry, that is not a good champion. That is a loser. Loser. LOSERS. Loser. You do not want Jinder as your champ. I don't give a fuck if you're going to India or not. India is a part of Asia. I'm sure Nakamura would get just as big of an ovation. So, get her done. Get that belt on Nakamura. Otherwise, this pay-per-view will fail. Anyway, I don't expect a lot out of this match. I honestly don't. And my expectations really of this match are about the same that I have of the lower card match, to be fair, which is probably the first time that I can say that, or excuse me, pre-show match, whatever. But, to say that Gable and Benjamin versus the Hype Bros has as much expectation as Nakamura versus Mahal, that's just sad. When you have Nakamura versus Mahal as your WWE title match, the problem there isn't Nakamura, it's Mahal. Mahal needs to be a mid-carder. He will never be anything other than a mid-carder until he learns to wrestle. If he wants to be the man, send his ass to NXT. Then he will learn some shit. Then he can come back like a fucking Drew McIntyre would come back, and he can be beast. But until those days come, he ain't gonna be shit. Now, for the rest of the pay-per-view, you have Gable and Benjamin versus the Hype Bros. Personally, as far as the Hype Bros, break up or shut up. Yeah, at this point, either this match breaks them up, or because Gable and Benjamin win, or this match breaks them up because they botch again, and that's why Gable and Benjamin win. But either way, Gable and Benjamin are going over here. This is clearly, and I do mean clearly, a match to put over Gable and Benjamin. I think they see big things for those two in the future. Yes, this has been 3 weeks since they've been on TV. But the fact is that I don't see the Hype Bros winning unless they go heel. If they pull a swerve and go heel here, then maybe they go over. But I just don't see that happening. Then you have Bobby Roode versus Dolph Ziggler. Now, I don't know when Ziggler's contract is up, but the way they've been making Ziggler look like an ass and really parading Ziggler with this stupid gimmick of, everyone can get over with a stupid entrance and blah 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 blah. It looks to me the way you would book a guy who's leaving the company. I mean, you're booking him to look like a dip. You're booking him to look like an asshole, and you're booking him as if he's not coming back. Because honestly, I expect a very high quality match here. Don't misunderstand that. Because Ziggler is going to be basically, padding his resume to wherever he's going next, whether that be ROH, New Japan, or re-signing with WWE should that happen. But I don't think so, because I think I really think that there's a grain of truth to what he said, and I have to believe that is the honest God truth, that he's tired of people who have flashy entrances getting the spotlight when he worked so hard in the ring to get where he is now. He does have, I believe, 5 or 6 Intercontinental Championships, but the fact there is so has a Money in the Bank, but unfortunately he's never won the big strap, whether that be the World Heavy or the WWE title or the Universal title, which in my opinion doesn't mean shit outside of Balor holding it for a day. But it's disappointing really to see what's happened to Ziggler over the course of his career. I think he started in 2002, somewhere thereabouts, as part of the Spirit Squad. And he just, he had some great programs with The Miz through those 15 years, but I just feel like he never truly got utilized the way he should have been. Bobby Roode, I mean, this is pretty obvious who's going to win here. I mean, Bobby Roode is a solid wrestler, so we should see a great match here. I think, though, that if you're looking to bet on somebody, it's probably going to be Bobby Roode. I think Roode is a solid pick here, and I honestly believe that Bobby Roode is moving up. Now, this seems like a bit of a face turn, and it's also very obvious that he's not coming back to NXT to get a rematch for that NXT title. So, I'm curious as to, after this is all over, is that when he pulls his heel turn, or is he going to stay a face? I'm very curious. I'm also curious to see if we're going to see, Orton versus Roode, because those two families have a very long-standing history with feuds. So, I mean, that would be a great place to go for Survivor Series, but I don't know where we're headed with Bobby Roode. I just know probably 90% of me is saying that Roode's going over here. There's a slight chance for Ziggler, but probably not a big one. Then you've got Styles versus Corbin. Given the way the company has treated Corbin like shit, and most of its NXT talent like shit. Let's see. You have the Close But No Cigar with Samoa Joe twice between Great Balls of Fire and SummerSlam. You have had what's happened with Corbin. You've had what's happened with Nakamura. Granted, he's beaten Orton and John Cena, but he can't beat Jinder Mahal. Durka. Give me a fucking break. And you will not hear me stop ranting about stupid ass Mahal, because stupid ass Mahal don't belong on my fucking television, let alone a fucking WWE ring. Anyway, you've got guys also like Sami Zayn who have been treated like shit. It seems like the only guy from NXT that really hasn't been treated like shit has been Kevin Owens. I mean, as odd as that sounds, Kevin Owens has been treated pretty good. He's two-time Intercontinental Champion, U.S. Champion, Universal Champion. Granted, there are other guys from NXT, like The Shield, that have been treated very well, but they were sort of bred to be the evolution of the next four heads of the Mount Rushmore of wrestling, or three of the next four. We don't know who that next one is. Probably AJ, but who am I to say that, right? But still, honestly, I'll get to more about Kevin Owens later, but it seems like KO definitely is probably the only one that's gotten respect. Corbin, I mean, he lost his Money in the Bank. He lost he lost against Ty Dillinger. He lost against John Cena. He had a loss against Sami Zayn earlier in the year. So, this guy's been really given the runaround, and Corbin is a decent wrestler. I just feel like he opened his big yap at the wrong time, and, whether it was yelling at their medical doctor, yelling at John Cena, yelling at the creative staff, or yelling at Dave Meltzer, or getting into a Twitter war with Dave Meltzer, you're not winning any of those battles, because Cena stands at the top of the company. Creative is just that creative, and they will fuck you, which is probably what led to the failed Money in the Bank cash-in. Dave Meltzer has ins in the WWE. He does. And, whether or not people want to believe that, he does. So he could have probably just as easily been behind the Money in the Bank thing as anyone else. But the fact of the matter is you're doing yourself a disservice by lashing out at other people. There is no quick route to the top. And unfortunately, guys like Damian Sandow, guys like Cody Rhodes, they all found that out the hard way. If you don't like WWE, there are other places for you to go. But, do not expect to be treated the way you are in WWE. So, either put up or shut up. It's really that simple for Corbin. I like Corbin just as much as the next guy. I think he makes an excellent heel. But if Corbin keeps shooting himself in the foot, then Corbin's not going to have much of a job much longer. So, in this particular match, I'm expecting Styles to go over. There's one other thing about this match, though, that makes me angry. Why the hell is Ty Dillinger not in this match? Why? Because Ty Dillinger's not in your corporate initiative? Because Ty Dillinger isn't over enough with the fans already? That you don't have all the fans shouting 10 every time there's a fucking ring count? It boggles my mind. Why no Ty Dillinger? There are no triple threat matches on this card. Yes, there are two, Hell in a Cell matches. I get that. But Unless your plan here was to have a Money in the Bank cash in from Carmella, then it makes no sense to not have this be a triple threat. So that's just my prerogative here. I think Ty Dillinger should have been walking out of this pay-per-view with the U.S. title. Get it off of Styles, because there's no point in Styles having it anymore. You don't need someone to promote the U.S. title. You don't. And this is the other thing. I mean, obviously, if Corbin wins, it's not like Kevin Owens is going to be coming after that title, because the apparently the people that are having the Raw that's like a week later, not the following Monday after Hell in a Cell, but the next week, have Kevin Owens on their card, which does not make much sense, and obviously card subject to change. But if Kevin Owens is going to Raw, then there's a lot of things that they're going to need to work out just with the U.S. division, and Ty Dillinger needs to become a facet in that, which would mean Corbin would have to go over. I would not be against that. I think AJ's destiny is at the top. I think if it takes AJ to take the title away from Mahal, so be it. I'd rather see AJ with that title than Mahal. I'd rather see anybody with that title than Mahal. Honestly, I hate Mahal. I do. I mean, Mahal at this point, if he wins and keeps that title, then I am like done with WWE for at least a few weeks. So, I mean, I do not think I will be watching anything but NXT, because Raw is just a waste of time at this point, because why should I watch? There's no Lesnar. There's TLC pretty much has nothing for me to care about. If you're only bringing the Shield back for, one match, then why do I care? Why do I care? Give me a reason to care. You know, because a one-time Shield reunion, that's not a reason to care. That's just a reason to not watch. Because you're going to get me all nostalgic just to realize, oh, it's only for once. And it's against The Miz and The Bar. Now, I'm not taking anything away from The Bar, but The Miz? Fuck The Miz. Okay? The Miz is a joke. The Miz has been a joke for a very long time. Is he a good heel? Yes. He makes a great heel on the mic. The problem is his ring skills suck. And they've always sucked. Because he takes zero risks. Zero in the ring. Now, he made that claim on Talking Smack that he don't take risks in the ring, and that's why he's never been injured. Great. That makes you the most boring fucking wrestler on the planet. Because in order to be a good wrestler, you have to take risks. The fact that you are chasing Chris Jericho for the greatest number of Intercontinental title reigns is a joke. And the fact that your title reign right now is basically goes back a year, just barring a couple of weeks here and there, is a joke. So, all that being said, and getting back to the point, you know, Styles and Corbin, you know, this really, they need to decide what they're going to do with the U.S. title going into next year, because it seems to me like they don't even know what they're going to do with it going into next year. It seemed pretty solid that over the summer Styles was going to have the U.S. title, but you can't just leave it on Styles until WrestleMania. That's beneath Styles' skill set in terms of what title he's defending. I mean, and B, like, you're going to have him face who for the U.S. title? It's either going to be somebody whose skill set is also well above the U.S. title, or B, it's going to be some newbie, probably from NXT. And I don't think necessarily people want to see that. Now the next one is Charlotte versus Natalya. This is an interesting match just because this is the first title match that Charlotte's gone into as a face. And Natalya isn't the first time Natalya has faced Charlotte Flair. So this should be a good match just based on that. And B, this isn't the first time that Charlotte Flair has gone into that Natalya, has gone into a feud just for the title at all. So this will be her second time defending this title. She defeated Naomi for it, and then had during Sin City SmackDown, and then she defeated her first for it at SummerSlam, then when What's-Her-Face took a rematch clause during the Sin City SmackDown, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, they ended up winning that one there. Natalya did. So now Charlotte is getting a match against Natalya. Here's the thing. I don't think Natalya walks out of this with a title, because if she wins, I think Carmella cashes in and then takes the belt from her. If she does not win, then Charlotte wins, and Charlotte wins. I don't know what their plans are for the women's title on SmackDown. I think that, it's the women's Money in the Bank. I mean, by my logic, that should have been cashed in on that Sin City SmackDown, because that would have at least made sense. Cash it in Las Vegas. Ha ha ha. But, honestly, now it seems like this is the Money in the Bank that's dragging out, and we might see, and that could end up being cashed in as late as Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. Because, I'm sure Carmella will be at ringside, being all chatty. I think that this may be WWE's attempt at getting her better promo skills. But I do have to say this about Carmella. At least Carmella's in-ring skill is beginning to become much, much better than it was. Oh my gosh, coming out of NXT and onto SmackDown. But now I would say that she's at least mediocre. So I don't think she's as bad as some would have her look. So, she needs to get James Ellsworth off of that dog leash, because that just spells S&M all over the place. But, yikes. Just get rid of Ellsworth. What value is he to anyone at this point? And I don't want to spend too long on this, but What value is Ellsworth to anyone at this point? Carmella don't need no man. Carmella an independent woman. And yeah, some might say, well, he won her women's Money in the Bank. No, he didn't, because they sat there and redid it after all the angry tweets about male dominance in this sport, the following 24 hours. So he really didn't do anything. And in the grand scheme of things, people hate him. That's why he's not in 2K18. He is a loser. Just like Mahal is a loser. And on a scale of 1 to 10, on the loser scale, you know how big of a loser Ellsworth is? You know how big of a loser Mahal is? There you go. Now, I already went over Mahal and Nakamura. I don't think I need to go over that again. Then you have New Day versus the Usos. This is very, very interesting here. Because thus far I've said Gable and Benjamin. Rude, but that one I would have said Ziggler if I knew Ziggler was staying. But Ziggler, from what I've heard, he may not be staying. So that's why I went rude. Corbin, again, a lot of these things and a lot of the reasons why I'm picking all faces is because a lot of these heels are not staying. They are looking for greener pastures and are taking a note out of Cody's book, so to speak. Maybe Natalya does go over Charlotte Flair. I don't know. Wouldn't make a lot of sense, but, if they wanted a long reign with Natalya, she's at least tolerable and knows her way around the ring. Needs a little bit of promo work, but nothing that's, not teachable. For crying out loud, she's part of the Hart family dynasty. So, yes, it is possible. But as far as New Day and Usos, I know a lot of people who are like, oh my god, it's gotta be the New Day. Oh, I love the New Day. I want to eat some bootios. Look, I love the New Day. I do. They're a great, free bird type tag team. They are. But if you look at the SmackDown tag team division, they have one tag team that is a heel right now, and that's even wrestling on their brand. And I don't even count the colognes, because A, one is injured, and B, the colognes suck anyway, so they're never going to get pushed. More than likely, they're going to get dropped like a bad habit the next year when they're doing spring cleaning, because they got their chance at a rebranding like 3-4 times, and it just hasn't worked. Drop them, because by the time the Undisputed era drops on you, or the freaking AOP drop on you, you're not going to want the Colons freaking being in your tag team division. All that being said, this is the way I look at this match. As much as I love the New Day and their act, they have to lose here. Why do they have to lose? Because you only have one heel. Just one. And if the New Day defeat your main heels in what is more than likely their final encounter, what heel is left for them to fight? None. it will be face versus face for how long? How long until the New Day, or excuse me, the Usos get another shot? Because you just spent 5 months hopscotching the title, hot potatoing the title between these two. So I think that your tag team division is going to get very, very stagnant. You really have to have the New Day earn it again, because they really didn't fight that long to get to this point. So if I'm New Day, I'm putting over people at this point once you lose this match, and if you lose this match. Now, and if I'm the Usos, if I'm looking at my next opponent, it's got to be the Fashion Police. Get those guys back in the ring. Tyler Breeze and Fandango are as good as anybody else on that tag team, in that tag team division. So why Breezango isn't featured and all they're doing is these stupid Fashion Files skits for 3 months, 4 months? It's just stupid. It's retarded and over the top for WWE. I think at this point we want to see them back in an in-ring capacity, not in a we know how to do promo capacity, because apparently now they do. So I think, I'm okay with them coming back as the Fashion Police. That's a funny shtick. But what you need to do is bring them back in an in-ring capacity and have them fight the Usos and have them win. Because it was the Usos that ultimately eliminated them. So I think that would be a great way to end the year, would be to have the Fashion Police take the title from the Usos. Now, you say, well, aren't you stuck in the same boat? No. And that's because, A, the New Day at that point will have not had the titles for at least 2 months, because there probably won't be any title shots at Survivor Series, which means more than likely the next tag team title shot will be on a SmackDown Live episode. So it's very, very, very likely that it's not that. I see it more likely that the Usos win and the New Day lose, especially inside Hell in a Cell. But there's that possibility that the New Day wins. I'm going to call it and say Usos over New Day, just because you're not going to have all faces win. I've seen all heels win, light balls of fire, but to have all the faces win, that would be over the top for WWE, just because they're all about the heels and the heel factor and blah blah blah. Well, if you're all about the heel factor, then maybe make your heels a bit more, realistic, because Mahal doesn't have to win by cheating every fucking time. Fucking hate Mahal. Fuck you, Jinder. Anyway, because I know that's what's going to happen. Believe me now, watch this video. I posted this video and made this video 24 hours before. And I guarantee you that after Hell in the Cell is over, that is what will happen. Tweedledee and Tweedledum the Singh brothers, whatever the fuck their name is, the Bollywood boys, the Bulimia boys, I don't care what the hell their name is. The fact of the matter is that those guys just, they disgust me. I really am angered that they were packaged the way they were with Jinder. I think Jinder should have gotten off on his own merits. And apparently WWE, that's how much, belief WWE has in Jinder. They didn't think Jinder could get off on his own merits. So they packaged him with two other guys from India, and there you go. Give me a break. Anyway, the other big match, Owens versus McMahon. This is an intriguing one. And it is intriguing in many, many different senses of the word because of what we know and what we don't know. Here is what I know right now. Number one, Owens is booked to work a Raw 2 weeks after Hell in a Cell. What I also know is that they made this Falls Count Anywhere, which means they will be heading outside the cell at some point, otherwise you wouldn't be making that stipulation. Now, there are multiple things that could happen here. Number one, some people have been speculating that Sami Zayn could get involved because he's been involved in the storyline since day one. And I think that it is very, very an interesting concept. I don't necessarily think that will happen just because of their lack of using Sami Zayn and the fact that they constantly fail to do so and capitalize on these chances. But I can see it happen. If this were a Sami Zayn heel turn, that would be a shock. But again, Sami Zayn, I don't see them using him in that way. So unless it's per se him screwing over Kevin Owens, that could be also a big thing too. The other thing that someone else said would be Owens could beat Shane, and then Shane could technically be replaced by either a Stephanie McMahon, which I would rather be gagged with a rag full of chloroform at this point, because Stephanie McMahon is about as easy to stand as watching golf, okay? And I hate golf. Not that I dislike the sport or anything, or I have anything against it. It is just, if you want to put me to sleep on television, put on golf. Same thing goes for Stephanie McMahon. The last time she was on a Raw, I passed out in my wheelchair. So I am going to say this. Do not get rid of Shane McMahon to just put on Stephanie. No. That would be the wrong path to go upon. Especially if Stephanie is going to have to work with an authority figure like Daniel Bryan. Because if I hear her once say that he's a B+ player, blah blah blah, you're going to lose my viewership on SmackDown. My personal opinion here is that, if Stephanie is going to return anywhere, it should be to the offices in Stamford, Connecticut. It should not be in front of the camera. As far as if Owens is going to be headed to Raw, if SmackDown loses Kevin Owens, whom is one of their prominent heels, and they lose him to Raw, they damn well better be getting something out of it. And I'm talking about a Samoa Joe. I'm talking about a Braun Strowman. I'm talking about, somebody whom at this point would at least make things interesting on Raw. Because if they lose Kevin Owens, and it's gonna backfire on Raw's ratings, because Raw at this point is one of those shows that has so much talent and never showcases more than half of it on a show. And these are the guys that basically every 4 weeks are pumping out a pay-per-view, whereas SmackDown is about every 4 to 6. So I don't really necessarily think that Kevin Owens is going anywhere per se. I mean, he may just be on that Raw to just beg for a Raw contract, for all we know. But if McMahon wins this, which is entirely possible, I mean, some people are like, no, Shane shouldn't win because Kevin Owens is the bigger heel here and he should be pushed. Well, I think he's been pushed through the moon. I mean, when you're sitting there breaking, Vince McMahon's head open, I think that's about as far as you can go. Personally, I just... what else is there to say? I mean, giving him the WWE title would make him a Grand Slam champion in 4 years. I mean Grand Slam champion, because he'd have been the Intercontinental, the US, the NXT, the Universal, and the freaking WWE. I'm not sure if he's been a tag champion yet. But the fact of the matter is that this is just a match that I think there's too much that we don't know about what's on the other side of it to really predict a winner logically. Therefore, all we really have is what's in front of us. Thus, my opinion here, which this is an opinion, I do not have any actual facts. Well, I have facts, but I don't have, literally a dirt sheet in front of me saying this is who's going to win and this is who's going to lose, like I did for some of these other matches. I honestly believe that Shane comes out of this on top. I mean, if Owens is going to move to Raw, then the only logical explanation for that would be if Shane beat him into submission and brought shame upon him, and thus he would end up becoming not wanting to be on SmackDown anymore. I mean, otherwise it just doesn't make sense. So it really should be a very interesting storyline there. So, for now, I am Gary Maloney here for Sacktown Slam, and I am signing off.